Have you ever woken up feeling something unusual and wondered if it could be more serious? You're not alone. In today's video, we're diving into 5 critical signs to watch for in old age that could indicate cancer. These early warning signs might just save your life if recognized in time. So stick around until the very end, because what you learn here could make a world of difference for you or a loved one. Before we begin, if you find this content valuable, please give this video a like, share it with your friends and family, and don't forget to leave your thoughts and stories in the comments below. Your experiences might help others, and we'd love to hear from you. Also, if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on more important health tips and advice. Now let's talk about cancer, a disease that strikes fear into the hearts of many. With one of the highest mortality rates worldwide, it's often seen as a ruthless, indiscriminate force. But here's the key: early detection can make all the difference. By paying attention to specific symptoms, especially those that appear first thing in the morning, you can take control of your health and potentially prevent serious consequences. So without further ado, let's dive into the 5 signs you should never ignore. Your health is your wealth. Let's make sure you're well-informed and ready to take action. Number 1. Persistent headaches after waking up. The first sign you really need to watch out for is persistent headaches after waking up. Imagine this. You open your eyes to a new day, but instead of feeling refreshed, you're met with a dull, throbbing pain. It's frustrating and can immediately drain your energy. While it might be easy to dismiss it as just a passing annoyance, frequent morning headaches could be your body's way of trying to alert you to something far more significant. These aches aren't always just a result of a bad night's sleep or some mild stress. They could be hinting at underlying health concerns that, if left unaddressed, could lead to serious consequences. Consider Frank. He had a busy life, and like many of us, dealt with a lot of stress from work and family. For months, Frank woke up with a headache nearly every morning. At first, he chalked it up to stress, or maybe sleeping in an awkward position. He would take some painkillers, push through the discomfort, and get on with his day. But over time, the headaches didn't go away. In fact, they started to feel more intense. His mornings became filled with a sense of dread because he knew that the headache would greet him as soon as he opened his eyes. This wasn't just a mild inconvenience anymore. It was a sign that something deeper was happening in his body. One of the potential culprits for these kinds of headaches is cerebrovascular disease. It's a condition that affects the blood vessels in the brain. When these vessels are blocked or constricted, it reduces the flow of blood to your brain, which can cause those persistent headaches. Your brain needs a steady supply of oxygen and nutrients, and when that's interrupted, it responds with pain. In Frank's case, his doctor later told him that his headaches were actually warning signs. The blood flow to his brain was being reduced, and had he continued to ignore the symptoms, he would have been at risk for something much more serious, like a stroke. Another cause of frequent morning headaches could be related to your spine, specifically cervical spondylosis. This is a condition that occurs when the discs in your neck start to degenerate, often due to age or poor posture. Over time, this can lead to nerve compression, which then sends pain signals to your head. Frank worked long hours at his desk, often without taking breaks, and with poor posture. He didn't realize it at first, but his neck was taking the strain, and that strain was being transferred to his head. What started as a minor ache became a daily issue, all because he didn't recognize how much his posture was affecting his health. Now, headaches aren't always caused by physical issues. In some cases, they can be a symptom of depression. When we're emotionally overwhelmed or feeling mentally drained, the body often responds with physical pain. Frank had been under a lot of pressure at work and was dealing with personal stress at home. Though he didn't think much of it, his mental and emotional state was contributing to the headaches he faced every morning. Our emotional health is deeply connected to our physical well-being. and when one is out of balance, the other often follows. Memory problems can also be a consequence of untreated morning headaches. If blood flow to the brain is continuously restricted, or if nerve damage is involved, cognitive function begins to suffer. Frank started noticing that he was becoming more forgetful. He'd lose track of things at work, forget important dates, or struggle to concentrate. At first, he didn't make the connection between his headaches and his memory lapses. But over time, it became clear that the two were linked. This decline in memory is just another sign of how crucial it is to address health problems early on. If left unchecked, persistent morning headaches can even lead to life-threatening conditions like a stroke. A stroke occurs when the blood supply to part of your brain is cut off, and it can cause permanent damage or even death. Frank was lucky that his doctors caught his condition in time. But not everyone is so fortunate. Strokes can happen suddenly and without warning, but in many cases, there are small signs, like frequent headaches, that come beforehand. These are the moments when we need to listen to our bodies and act before it's too late. While we've talked about some of the more severe causes of morning headaches, not every case is as serious. Sometimes it can be due to something as simple as dehydration or poor sleep habits. For those instances, natural remedies can provide some relief. Drinking ginger tea, for example, can help reduce inflammation, and applying warm compresses can soothe tense muscles. Foot soaks can also be surprisingly effective at relieving tension throughout the body. However, these remedies should be seen as temporary solutions, not long-term fixes. If the headaches persist, it's important to seek out professional advice rather than relying solely on home remedies. Our daily habits can also play a significant role in causing or preventing these headaches. Are we taking care of our bodies by maintaining proper posture, getting enough rest, and staying hydrated? Small changes, like adjusting how we sit or taking regular breaks from screens, can have a big impact. Frank learned this the hard way, realizing that his desk setup and long hours without stretching were contributing to his neck and head pain. Prevention is always better than treatment, and often the solution lies in these seemingly simple adjustments. When morning headaches become frequent, it's a sign that we need to take action. Frank eventually went to a doctor, but only after months of suffering. His story is a reminder that ignoring pain doesn't make it go away. It usually just makes things worse. By seeing a healthcare professional, Frank was able to get to the root of his problem and start treating it effectively. It's important for all of us to remember that our bodies are always communicating with us, and it's up to us to listen. It's not just about treating the pain, it's about addressing the cause. Frank's headaches were caused by a combination of factors. His posture, his emotional state, and his physical health all played a part. Once he understood that, he was able to make changes in multiple areas of his life. This is a key lesson for all of us. We can't always treat health issues in isolation. Often it requires a more holistic approach, looking at how our lifestyle, mental health, and physical health all intersect. The body and mind are deeply connected. What happens in one will inevitably affect the other. This is why it's so important to take a balanced approach to health, recognizing that physical pain can have emotional causes, and emotional distress can manifest physically. Frank's journey is a testament to this connection. As he began to address the emotional stresses in his life, he found that his physical symptoms, including the headaches, started to improve. In the end, Frank's story isn't just about headaches. It's about understanding our bodies and minds as a unified system. When something feels off, whether it's physical pain or emotional discomfort, we need to pay attention. Ignoring those signals only leads to more suffering. By seeking help, making lifestyle adjustments, and addressing the root cause, we can regain control of our health and improve our overall quality of life. Persistent morning headaches are just one example of how our bodies communicate with us. These symptoms, while unpleasant, are a form of guidance. They are telling us that something needs to change, and it's our responsibility to figure out what that is. Whether it's through improving our posture, managing stress, or seeking medical advice, we all have the power to take charge of our health and well-being. Number 2. Joint pain after waking up. The second one seems to us most dangerous, is joint pain after waking up. You see, while joint pain is often brushed off as a typical part of aging, there's something deeper we need to consider. Morning joint pain could be whispering a warning about something far more serious, like bone tuberculosis. It's easy to dismiss the stiffness in our hips or knees as just another part of getting older. But when this discomfort lingers, it can reveal an underlying issue that demands attention. Just as we wouldn't ignore a flashing warning light in our car, our body's signals deserve that same level of concern. Take Mr. Owen, for instance. He's a 66-year-old man who initially thought his aching joints were just another sign that the years were catching up with him. For weeks, he experienced stiffness in his hips every morning. At first, he tried to shake it off, attributing it to the usual wear and tear that comes with age. We've all been there, haven't we? You wake up, feel a bit creaky, and figure it's nothing more than a byproduct of life's journey. But Owen's pain persisted, the stiffness becoming a steady companion that refused to be ignored. Eventually, he sought medical advice, and that's when the diagnosis hit him: bone tuberculosis. This is where the danger truly lies. Bone tuberculosis often goes unnoticed in its early stages because the symptoms mimic common signs of aging. It affects the hips, spine, and knees, making movement painful and slow. But because these are areas already prone to discomfort in older age, many don't seek help until it's too late. The disease can creep in, quietly eroding the bones until it's too far along to reverse. For Owen, the delay in treatment could have led to permanent disability. Luckily, catching it when he did allowed him to start treatment early, preventing further damage. When we talk about joint pain in the morning, it's critical to differentiate between what's typical and what's troubling. If the pain lasts beyond a few days or feels unusually intense, it's time to seek professional help. We should never wait until the pain becomes unbearable. Pain is the body's way of communicating with us, and listening to those signals can mean the difference between simple discomfort and a serious health issue. Now, not every ache signals something as serious as bone tuberculosis, but that doesn't mean we should ignore it either. Sometimes, all that's needed to alleviate morning joint pain is a bit of self-care. Gentle exercises, for instance, can help loosen up stiff joints. We might be surprised how much relief a few stretches can provide, especially when done regularly. It's about creating a routine that supports the body rather than strains it. Think of it as a way to prepare your body for the day, giving your joints the movement they need to function well. Warm compresses can also offer tremendous relief, especially when the joints feel particularly stiff. The warmth relaxes the muscles around the joint, allowing for greater flexibility and reducing that unpleasant tightness that often accompanies morning discomfort. It's a simple yet effective remedy, and combined with essential oils like eucalyptus or lavender, it can turn into a soothing morning ritual that not only eases the pain, but also sets a positive tone for the day. It's easy to overlook these simple solutions in favor of pushing through the pain. Many of us were raised to believe that perseverance in the face of discomfort is a virtue, but when it comes to our health, ignoring pain can be a dangerous game. Owen learned that lesson the hard way. His story serves as a reminder that we need to pay attention to what our bodies are telling us, no matter how subtle the signals might seem. Joint pain doesn't have to define our mornings. With the right approach, we can manage it, prevent it from getting worse, and even eliminate it in some cases. The key is to stay vigilant. If the pain isn't severe, gentle movement, warmth, and oils can work wonders. But if the pain is persistent or intensifies, seeking medical advice is crucial. We often underestimate how much our quality of life is tied to our ability to move freely. Joint pain can rob us of our mobility, independence, and enjoyment of simple daily activities. Owen's story is a powerful example of how quickly things can change when we neglect the signs. Yet it's also a story of hope, because once he sought help, his life improved dramatically. So the next time we feel that familiar stiffness in the morning, let's not be so quick to dismiss it. Whether it's a minor discomfort that can be managed with self-care, or something more serious like bone tuberculosis, paying attention to our body's messages will always lead us in the right direction. Pain is never something to fear, but it is something to respect. Number 3. Fatigue and memory decline after waking up. The third sign you may get it usually creeps up in a subtle but impactful way. Waking up with fatigue and memory decline. Many of us brush off that heavy feeling when we first open our eyes, assuming it's just another rough morning. But if you find yourself consistently waking up tired, even after what should be a restful night's sleep, it's time to pay attention. Persistent fatigue, especially when coupled with memory issues, can be an early sign that something more serious is going on. It's not just about being tired. It's your body telling you that there could be underlying issues like thyroid dysfunction, diabetes, or even depression. Now, let's think about this more deeply. Fatigue isn't just about physical exhaustion, it affects your entire day. You wake up, try to shake it off, but your mind feels foggy, your energy drained. Simple tasks seem overwhelming, and your ability to recall important details diminishes. Have you ever been in a situation where you're having a conversation and suddenly forget what you were about to say? Or perhaps you leave the house only to realize you've forgotten something crucial? That's not just a fluke. These moments, over time, can add up and impact your quality of life. Imagine Maria, a woman in her mid-40s. She's always been full of energy, juggling her career and family life with ease. But lately, something has shifted. Maria wakes up each day feeling as if she's run a marathon in her sleep. No matter how early she goes to bed, no matter how much she rests, the tiredness lingers. Alongside this fatigue, she notices small lapses in her memory. She struggles to recall the names of familiar faces, or forgets where she left her keys. It frustrates her because she's always been sharp, someone others relied on for details. What Maria doesn't realize yet is that these could be signs of a deeper issue. It's easy to dismiss symptoms when life is busy, when responsibilities pile up, but our body often whispers before it shouts. This constant tiredness and the small memory slips could point to issues with her thyroid, which regulates energy and metabolism. Or perhaps her blood sugar levels are out of balance, pointing toward diabetes. In some cases, it could even be the weight of unacknowledged stress or depression manifesting in physical ways. And that's why it's crucial for us to pay attention to these signs early on. Maria, like many of us, might try to push through, thinking she just needs to sleep more or eat better. While these are important steps, persistent fatigue combined with memory issues isn't something to ignore. Consulting with a doctor can help identify the root cause, whether it's medical or psychological. Ignoring the signs only allows them to grow stronger, making it harder to address later on. Now, let's talk about simple, practical steps that can support Maria and anyone else experiencing these symptoms. First, something as straightforward as drinking lemon water in the morning can do wonders. It hydrates the body, flushes out toxins, and boosts your immune system. A small, consistent practice like this can help combat fatigue over time. Secondly, maintaining a regular sleep schedule is crucial. It's not just about the number of hours you sleep, but the quality and consistency. Our bodies thrive on routine, and getting to bed at the same time every night can help regulate your internal clock, promoting better rest and reducing that groggy, tired feeling when you wake up. Furthermore, a balanced diet rich in vitamins and minerals plays a significant role in managing energy levels and cognitive function. Foods rich in antioxidants, omega-3 fatty acids, and B vitamins are especially beneficial for brain health. When Maria starts incorporating these into her meals, she'll likely notice an improvement, not only in her energy levels, but in her ability to focus and retain information. But let's not stop there. While these lifestyle changes are powerful, they should go hand in hand with seeking professional help. If the fatigue and memory decline persist, a medical evaluation is essential. Thyroid tests, blood sugar screenings, and mental health assessments can provide clarity and guide treatment. When we act early, we give ourselves the best chance at recovery and a return to vitality. In the end, Maria's experience is a reminder to all of us. Our bodies are complex, and they communicate with us in various ways. Fatigue and memory decline aren't just nuisances to push through. They're signs, subtle but significant, that something within us needs attention. Whether it's a change in diet, an adjustment in our daily routine, or a visit to the doctor, addressing these signs early can prevent bigger issues down the road. So, if you're finding yourself in a similar position to Maria, waking up exhausted and struggling to remember details throughout the day, take it as an opportunity to pause and reflect. Ask yourself, is this just a temporary slump, or is my body trying to tell me something? And remember, it's not about being perfect or making drastic changes overnight. Small, consistent steps can have a profound impact on your health and well-being. It's about listening to your body, honoring its needs, and seeking the support necessary to thrive. Number 4. Wheezing and mucus in the mouth after waking up. Have you ever woken up and felt a strange tightness in your chest, like there's something clogging up your lungs? Maybe you've noticed a sticky mucus coating the inside of your mouth, and every breath you take has this faint, almost silent wheeze. It's not a pleasant feeling, is it? Now, think about this happening not just once, but over and over again, especially when you first rise in the morning. You might chalk it up to sleeping in a dry room, or perhaps something as simple as seasonal allergies. But what if your body is trying to tell you something more profound? These recurring symptoms are often clues about your respiratory health that we shouldn't ignore. The question then is, what do these signals mean? And what should we do when we notice them consistently? When our bodies repeatedly give us signs like wheezing or an excess of mucus, it's usually a message that something isn't functioning as it should. For some of us, these could be early indicators of more serious conditions such as asthma, COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, or even something as grave as lung cancer. While we may be tempted to dismiss these signs as minor inconveniences, the truth is, they could point to something that requires attention before it grows into a larger issue. Let's take Frank, for example. Frank, like many of us, was a busy man, constantly juggling his career and personal life. He began waking up with a congested feeling in his chest, always needing to clear his throat, and noticing that his breathing was accompanied by a subtle wheeze. At first, Frank thought it was nothing to worry about, maybe just a bad night's sleep or dust in the air. Days turned into weeks, and still, every morning, the symptoms greeted him like clockwork. He would drink water, try clearing his throat, but the sensation persisted. Yet, Frank pushed these signs aside, convincing himself that it wasn't a big deal. He had more pressing matters to focus on, or so he thought. Months later, Frank began to notice that his energy was waning. Walking upstairs left him short of breath, and he had to take more frequent breaks during his daily activities. It was only then that the wheezing started to feel like more than just an annoying sound. It became a reminder that something deeper was wrong. That's when Frank decided to visit his doctor, who diagnosed him with COPD. Imagine if Frank had continued to brush off those early signs. His condition might have worsened significantly by the time he finally sought help. When it comes to our health, especially our respiratory health, it's crucial to understand that early signs should never be ignored. Wheezing and mucus buildup are often signals that something isn't working as smoothly as it should. In many cases, these symptoms can be alleviated with simple remedies. Drinking warm water with honey and lemon to soothe the throat, for instance, or using a humidifier to add moisture to the air while we sleep. These solutions can offer some relief, but the most important step is recognizing that if the symptoms persist, a visit to the doctor is essential. Let's consider why wheezing and mucus are so significant in the first place. These symptoms are often related to inflammation or obstruction in the airways, which can point to conditions like asthma or COPD. Asthma, for instance, is a chronic condition that causes the airways to narrow and swell, producing extra mucus. In some cases, this could be a manageable condition with proper medication and lifestyle adjustments. In others, the signs could be pointing to more serious conditions, such as lung infections or even lung cancer, where early detection makes a massive difference in treatment outcomes. Think about Frank again. After his diagnosis, he began to take small but important steps to improve his health. He started drinking warm fluids in the morning, which helped reduce the mucus buildup. He also added essential oils to his humidifier at night, which made breathing easier as he slept. But more importantly, he began following the treatment plan his doctor prescribed for managing COPD. It wasn't just the remedies that helped. It was the decision to take his health seriously and seek professional advice. Now, we may not all be like Frank dealing with COPD, but the principle remains the same. When we consistently experience symptoms like wheezing or excessive mucus, especially in the morning, we should be proactive in finding out what's causing them. These are not symptoms to shrug off. The body is constantly communicating with us, and if we listen, we can often catch problems early enough to address them effectively. There are plenty of natural remedies that can help alleviate respiratory symptoms. Drinking warm water with honey and lemon, for example, is an age-old remedy known to soothe the throat and loosen mucus. Similarly, using a humidifier in your bedroom can add much-needed moisture to the air, making it easier to breathe throughout the night. Adding essential oils like eucalyptus or peppermint to a steam inhaler can also help clear the airways. These simple steps can make a world of difference, but they are no substitute for medical consultation, especially if the symptoms are persistent. Where does this leave us? We have to be vigilant, not fearful, but aware. We don't need to jump to conclusions or assume the worst, but we also shouldn't be complacent. Waking up every morning with difficulty breathing, or finding our mouths filled with mucus, is our body's way of telling us that something needs attention. It might be something as manageable as allergies or something more serious. Either way, these symptoms deserve our full attention. Remember, Frank's turning point wasn't when the symptoms got unbearable. It was when he realized that ignoring them was no longer an option. He chose to act, to investigate, and to take the necessary steps toward better health. And that's the lesson we can all take away from this. The earlier we listen to what our body is telling us, the better equipped we are to manage whatever comes our way. At the end of the day, wheezing and mucus buildup may seem like small, insignificant problems in the grand scheme of things, but they can be the beginning of something larger. It's up to us to pay attention, to make those small adjustments like drinking warm fluids or using a humidifier, but more importantly, to seek professional advice when the signs persist. By doing so, we can ensure that we're not just treating symptoms, but addressing the root cause of the problem, much like Frank did when he finally took that first step toward diagnosis and treatment. So the next time you wake up feeling like something is clogging up your chest, or notice that persistent wheeze, don't just brush it off. Let it be a gentle reminder that your body is trying to communicate with you, and that the earlier you listen, the better. You owe it to yourself to take those steps, no matter how small they may seem at first, because they could make all the difference. Number 5, persistent coughing after waking up. The last sign you must pay attention to when you're older is persistent coughing after waking up. Let's be clear about this. A morning cough that sticks around longer than a couple of weeks is not something to brush off. You see, coughing is our body's way of clearing irritants or obstructions from the airway. But when it becomes persistent, especially when you notice it happening daily after you wake up, it could be an early warning sign of something more serious, like lung cancer. It's important to understand that over 90% of early-stage lung cancer patients experience this kind of morning cough, lasting more than 2 weeks. We're not here to alarm anyone unnecessarily, but knowledge is power, and this is one of those subtle signs that deserve our full attention. Now, let's imagine a scenario. Frank, a retired 65-year-old, has been enjoying his quiet mornings with a cup of tea for years. But lately, he notices that each morning starts with a dry, persistent cough. He doesn't think much of it at first, dismissing it as just another part of getting older. Days turn into weeks, and the cough lingers. One morning, he coughs and notices a small trace of blood. This catches his attention, and for the first time he feels a wave of concern. He remembers reading somewhere about how a persistent cough could be an early sign of lung cancer. Instead of ignoring it, Frank decides to see his doctor. After a thorough checkup, he learns that his cough was indeed an early symptom of lung cancer. Thanks to the early detection, he's able to start treatment right away, significantly improving his chances of recovery. This is why we're emphasizing how crucial it is to pay attention to what seems like small changes in your body. Often, we're quick to dismiss these signs as minor inconveniences, but they can be our body's way of sending us a warning. Persistent coughing, especially in the morning, is one of those signals. If it doesn't go away after a couple of weeks, especially if there are additional symptoms like blood or difficulty breathing, a comprehensive health checkup becomes essential. Ignoring it could mean missing out on the chance to catch something like lung cancer at an early stage when treatment outcomes are far better. We're not saying that every cough means cancer, but understanding the difference between a temporary irritation and something that lingers for too long is key. Frank's story is just one example, but the lesson applies to all of us. When we reach a certain age, our bodies go through changes that we shouldn't overlook. Listening to these signals, even when they seem small, could be the difference between early detection and delayed treatment. Now, aside from the serious signs like persistent coughing, there are also daily habits we can incorporate to maintain our overall health. Small habits like drinking warm water first thing in the morning can do wonders for your digestive system, helping to flush out toxins and improve circulation. We don't think about it often, but something as simple as hydration plays a significant role in keeping our bodies functioning smoothly. Another habit to consider is incorporating light stretching exercises into your morning routine. Stretching not only keeps your muscles flexible, but also enhances circulation, reduces stiffness, and promotes better posture. As we age, it's easy to become more sedentary, but this can lead to a host of issues, including joint pain and reduced mobility. Even a few minutes of stretching each morning can make a world of difference in how you feel throughout the day. Maintaining a regular bowel movement schedule is another overlooked aspect of health. Many people don't realize how closely gut health is tied to overall well-being. By staying consistent with your eating habits, drinking plenty of water, and even using gentle massage techniques on your abdomen, you can keep things moving smoothly, which in turn supports energy levels, mood, and immune function. Let's not forget about the power of facial massage. It might sound simple, but gently massaging your face each morning can stimulate blood flow, reduce puffiness, and even promote a sense of relaxation as you start your day. It's one of those self-care habits that can feel luxurious, but it also contributes to your physical and emotional well-being. Incorporating these habits doesn't require a drastic lifestyle change, but they can make a significant impact over time. It's easy to overlook small practices like these because they seem so simple. However, it's the consistency in these small habits that contributes to overall health and well-being. Think about it like this. Just as persistent coughing is a sign that something needs attention, the absence of positive daily habits is like missing out on an opportunity to keep your body strong and healthy. Pay attention to those early warning signs like persistent morning coughing, and make sure to prioritize early detection when something feels off. But equally important is adopting daily habits that contribute to long-term health. Staying proactive about your well-being through these simple routines can reduce the likelihood of developing serious health conditions down the road. As we wrap up, let's remember Frank's story. He didn't ignore the signs, and because of that, he was able to catch a serious issue before it became too late. Each of us has the power to take control of our health, both by paying attention to warning signs and by making small, intentional choices that support our overall well-being. By staying alert to the signs we discussed and by incorporating simple daily habits, we can improve our chances of detecting serious health issues early and maintaining a higher quality of life as we age. It's about taking those small steps that over time lead to significant improvements in our health and longevity. So let's make that commitment to ourselves and our loved ones. Every small step counts, and the earlier we start, the better we'll feel in the long run. As we come to the end of this important discussion, it's clear that paying attention to these early signs could truly be life-changing. Your health is something that should never be taken for granted, and being proactive is the best way to protect yourself. By recognizing these warning signals early on, you're giving yourself the chance to catch potential issues before they become serious. Remember, knowledge is power, but action is what makes the real difference. If anything we talked about resonates with you, don't hesitate to consult a healthcare professional and take the steps needed to safeguard your health. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you found the information valuable, please show your support by liking, sharing, and subscribing to our channel for even more essential health tips. We'd love to hear your thoughts. What stood out to you the most, and how do you plan to use this knowledge in your life? Let's keep the conversation going in the comments below and continue sharing ways to live healthier, happier lives.